Day 44, verses 67 to 69, The Awakening of Wisdom. Namaste and welcome to Gita 360. In the previous verses, the Gita showed us that peace is the foundation of happiness, and that peace can only arise when the mind is disciplined and centered. In verses 67 to 69, it takes this understanding deeper to show how a wise person sees life in a completely different way. Just as a strong wind sweeps away a boat off its course on water, if the mind focuses on even one of the senses, it can lead the intellect astray. The imagery is striking. A boat in the middle of the ocean, suddenly caught by a strong wind and pulled far away from its path. That is exactly what happens to the human mind when it succumbs to even one of the senses. Our senses are constantly moving towards things that are attractive or stimulating. The eyes keep searching, the ears keep absorbing, the tongue keeps craving, and the mind keeps running behind these impulses. When we follow every urge without awareness, we slowly lose direction and become aimless and lost. This does not always happen dramatically or suddenly. It happens over time. A few minutes of distraction turns into hours. A small temptation becomes a habit. A passing comparison becomes insecurity. One emotional reaction begins to shape our whole day. Little by little, the mind drifts away from its center. The danger is not in being distracted. The danger is in forgetting where we were headed in the first place. Like a boat pulled by the wind, we find ourselves carried by forces we never really chose. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is firmly established in divine knowledge. Having shown the danger, the Gita then gives the solution. A person who learns to bring the senses under discipline becomes firmly established in wisdom. This is not about denying ourselves every pleasure or becoming harsh towards life. It is about developing mastery over what enters and controls the mind. It is about being aware of where our mind is and where it is headed. Not every impulse deserves action. Not every attraction deserves attention. Not every emotion deserves expression. Real strength lies in choosing consciously. When we begin to exercise that choice, the mind gathers itself. It becomes centered. Think of sunlight scattered across a room. It gives light, but little power. Focus that same light through a lens and it can ignite fire. The human mind is similar. When scattered, it feels weak and restless. When collected, it carries tremendous strength, clarity, and purpose. That is what discipline creates, not restriction, but inner power. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Most of the world remains absorbed in what is outward: pleasure, achievement, recognition, possessions, competition, status, and constant stimulation. These things occupy attention and shape desire. For many, this is what feels most real and important, and their senses are awake to these desires. But inner peace, self-awareness, restraint, reflection, and spiritual truth often receives little attention. They feel distant, abstract, or even unnecessary. The mind is sleepy or unaware to these. For a wise person, this is reversed. They are awake to what lasts. They value what brings depth, understanding, and inner freedom. They are not easily captivated by endless wanting, ego battles, or the chase for things that quickly lose meaning. This does not mean they reject life. It means they see life differently. Imagine two people standing in the same world. One is constantly asking, "What can I get from life?" The other is asking, "What is life teaching me? How can I grow through it?" The world outside may look the same, but the inner vision is entirely different. That is true awakening. Think about how easily our day gets shaped by whatever captures our attention first. We wake up with a plan, but before long, the mind is pulled elsewhere. Social media, world news, family updates. Before we are aware, our attention gets handed over to things that begin to control our inner state. And what controls our attention often ends up shaping our day, our life. But there are people who move through the same world, face the same pressures, and deal with the same uncertainties, yet lead a different life. Their attention is not constantly consumed by noise. They are anchored by awareness and a deeper understanding of what deserves space in the mind. That is what changes everything. Life outside may remain busy and unpredictable, but when attention is given to what is real, wisdom, purpose, reflection, compassion, truth, the quality and essence of life begins to change from within. The world does not become quieter, but our mind stops giving equal importance to everything that asks for attention. And that itself is freedom. Hence, the Gita invites us to be awake to what truly matters and less fascinated by what the world thinks is important. Thought of the day. Where attention goes, life begins to follow. Ask yourself today, am I awake to what truly nourishes me, or only to what keeps me occupied? Thank you for joining me on Gita 360. May you find the wisdom to choose what strengthens your inner life and the clarity to walk a path that brings lasting peace.